The biggest piece of Golden State's LeBron James pursuit may have just disappeared, and the person who controls the futures of both LeBron and Anthony Davis just gave an answer that Warriors fans probably didn't want to hear. For the entire offseason, the Warriors' plan seemed built around one move. First, get Anthony Davis, then try to bring in LeBron James. That was the idea coming out of Chase Center. But Rich Paul, the CEO of Clutch Sports and the agent for both LeBron James and Anthony Davis, was asked directly about Davis on the Game Over podcast. The question was simple: will Anthony Davis be playing for the Wizards next season? Rich Paul's answer was one word: yes. Then the host followed up, asking if there was some trade being discussed privately or something happening behind the scenes. Paul didn't hesitate. He said he didn't know anything about that. For Golden State, that response is a major warning sign. Without an official announcement, this is about as close as you can get to a door being closed. Now, look at the bigger picture. The Warriors wanted Anthony Davis, and they wanted him badly. Their offer to Washington reportedly included Jimmy Butler, multiple first-round picks, and multiple second-round picks. That is a massive package. But there was already a problem with that proposal. Golden State has been reluctant to include Jimmy Butler while he is still recovering from his ACL injury. And that matters because Butler was the player who completely changed the Warriors' season after arriving. Giving him up while his physical future is still uncertain would be a huge gamble. So even before Washington responded, the Warriors' offer already had some uncertainty attached to it. Then the Wizards made their position clear. ESPN's Mark J. Spears reported that Washington has no plans to trade Davis this summer. Not that they are thinking about it, not that they are waiting for the right opportunity, they simply don't want to move him. The reason is obvious. Washington didn't acquire Davis just to send him somewhere else. They brought him in to become part of their foundation. He hasn't even made his debut for the franchise yet, but the organization is already committed to building around him. With Trae Young, the #1 overall pick, Ajay Dembélé, and Alex Sarr, Washington sees a young core they can develop. And Davis himself has reportedly said he wants to stay and help build this from the ground up. So, without Anthony Davis, the Warriors' argument for why LeBron should come to Golden State becomes much harder to sell. That's the reality sitting in front of them right now. But don't leave yet, because this story still has another angle. But there is another layer to this story, and it starts with Draymond Green. Draymond Green and LeBron James recently took a trip to Puerto Rico together to play golf, just spending time as friends away from everything else. And according to Draymond himself, he didn't waste that opportunity. He used that trip to make his pitch to LeBron. Green explained that if they were together for multiple days and he never brought up the situation, that would have been crazy. He said they had to talk about what was happening and what they could potentially do. And the way Draymond described the conversation was interesting. He called the pitch crazy. Not simple, not interesting, crazy. That's the word he chose. And think about the situation for a moment. Draymond himself turned down a $27.7 million player option and doesn't even know where he will be playing next season.
Yet, he still sat down with LeBron in Puerto Rico and delivered a pitch that he believed could actually make an impact. The important detail is how this happened. This wasn't a meeting organized by agents. It wasn't a public basketball conversation with cameras around. It was a private golf trip between two friends. So if Draymond chose that moment to bring up Golden State, it shows he believes there is a legitimate opportunity. Now the question becomes simple. If the Anthony Davis trade is really off the table, does Golden State still have another path to LeBron? The answer might be yes. The Warriors reportedly have a 3-step plan ready if LeBron decides he wants to make the move. The first step would be moving Moses Moody to a rebuilding team for a trade exception. That would create around $13 million in additional cap flexibility, while also leaving Moody's future uncertain. The second move would be giving Draymond Green a 2-year contract worth around $36 million to keep the foundation of the Warriors' defense in place. Then comes the biggest piece. Golden State would offer LeBron the full non-taxpayer mid-level exception worth $15 million. No Anthony Davis trade needed. Just Steph Curry, Steve Kerr's player-friendly culture, and the chance for LeBron to make a major move closer to Los Angeles. It's a risky and aggressive backup plan. But the question is whether it's enough to beat what teams like the Cavaliers, Heat, and 76ers can offer. That is the question nobody in San Francisco wants to answer yet. And while all this attention is focused on the superstars, there is another young player quietly making noise in Las Vegas. While all the attention stays on LeBron James and Anthony Davis, there is another storyline developing with the Warriors' newest young player. Rookie Jacob Lenderborg has been putting together some incredible Summer League performances. He dropped 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists in one game at Chase Center. Then he followed that up with 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists against the Mavericks. But even after putting up those kinds of numbers, Lenderborg still gave himself a B-. The reason? He says he is exhausted and still trying to adjust to the speed of the NBA. After a recent practice, he admitted he has been working on changing his sleep schedule and improving his diet, but it hasn't been easy. He even said he had never felt that out of breath in his life. And that makes the story even more interesting when you remember where he came from. Not long ago, he was working in a warehouse after high school. Now, he's the 11th pick in the NBA draft. He even broke down emotionally on the bus heading to his first Summer League game. That type of humility stands out. A player putting up double-doubles while still believing he has a long way to go is exactly the kind of mentality teams want. So while everyone is waiting to see what happens with LeBron and Anthony Davis, keep an eye on what's happening in Las Vegas. The next era of the Warriors could already be starting in front of everyone. Right now, the situation is simple. Anthony Davis appears set to remain in Washington, with Rich Paul essentially confirming that direction. Golden State's backup plan is already prepared if LeBron becomes available. And somewhere, LeBron James is sitting with Draymond Green's crazy pitch in his mind, deciding what happens next for the franchise. One thing is certain, this offseason still has another chapter waiting. Do you think LeBron actually ends up with the Warriors even without Anthony Davis? Or is this just a dream scenario from the fan base? Let me know your prediction in the comments because I want to hear where you stand.